literally.
Good morning and welcome to episode 1 of the Powerpuff Babes podcast, where sugar meets spice and everything nice. We're your hosts, Mo, Kat, and Allie. Before we start, we would like to thank you all for tuning in and sharing this exciting new journey with us. I would also like to thank my lovely ladies who worked so hard to make this possible. So without further delay, let's get started. So,
Hello.
Hola.
did I just say everything already? And I didn't? I'm gonna be so sad. Should I say it again?
Should I say
No.
it again?
Should I say it again?
I don't know if it caught it.
It did. I heard
Yeah,
it.
it did.
Oh,
It did.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
no, we're good.
So, I have a question for you.
What's up?
Yeah.
What's the craziest thing that's ever happened in your town?
I'm gonna let Allie start.
Okay. Well, I have a very interesting story. In 2018, so about what is that, 3 years ago, because it hasn't quite been 4 since it happened, we had a bombing situation happen in Pflugerville, Texas, where I am from. Basically, this guy was putting bombs into, I don't know if you guys have ever seen Criminal Minds, but there was an episode kind of like this. He was putting bombs into like packages and like leaving them on people's doorsteps.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
And there were people that were like, it was like a giant scare because it was like, does my package have a bomb in it? Like, is it just my normal Amazon package? Like, people weren't sure what the boxes looked like. They hadn't released that information yet. So at the time, my mom was like very crazed. I mean, she still is, but she was like very crazed into ordering stuff off of Amazon. And like, so we were getting like a lot of packages during this time. And it was just like, can we pick this up? Should we call the police? Like, is this what we want? So it was like hardcore, like checking the like confirmation, like, we've just delivered your package, like, here's the picture. But this guy actually he ended up getting found out. And I just think this is a story that I can talk about because my high school, and I mean, not even my high school, just the fact that like I drove past his house like so many times. Like, his house is kind of like center Pflugerville almost. Like, that neighborhood is kind of like what you would call old Pflugerville, I say in quotations. Because like that's like where Pflugerville started and things like got built, around it. So, I'm, constantly driving through that neighborhood, around that, like, just kind of like, you see the house in passing, you don't really think about it. And basically, they found out who it was. I'm not entirely sure. They didn't really put that information anywhere. I don't know if somebody like called something in, knew it was him or what. I know that they talked to someone he grew up with. So I think that might have been the guy who said something. But basically, it ended up in they went to his house and pretty much just kind of surrounded it. They were like, we know it's you, like, come on out. His roommates were questioned once they found out. Everybody like around him that knew was just like, did you guys know? Are you guys in on it? Things that they commonly ask. It ended up in kind of like a standoff situation where he unfortunately ended up blowing himself up.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, he basically took the extreme way out. And in the midst of his whole thing, two people ended up dying. It was a 17-year-old boy and a 39-year-old man. And basically, those were the only two people that were unfortunately killed in this situation, but there were 5 people that were hurt. I want to say there were maybe 4 to 6 packages that were put on people's doorsteps before he was found out. So luckily, it was a very small situation, a very quick experience, so to speak, where basically, it wasn't, weeks on end. It was a very quick, like once people figured out what was going on, the police were contacted, and they obviously put their best efforts into it and found him very quickly.
Really? Oh my god.
Yeah, but it was a very scary thing, because it was like, people were second guessing, like, because I mean, before people knew that the bombs were like in packages, it was like, is he just putting bombs in places? Like, what's gonna happen? um and people didn't know his motives, his victims, or anything. So it was very scary before things came out and were like, we found him, like, this is what he was doing, like, it's all okay now, like, but
Right.
it was just very crazy to know that that was something that was like so close to me.
Oh my god, that's terrifying, especially
Yeah.
with the amount of like Amazon packages people get.
Yeah, like people, like, it was like people didn't know, like, if he was just putting them in normal boxes, if it was, leftover boxes from him ordering things. Like, it was a very scary time.
Oh my god, that's
Yeah,
terrifying.
I couldn't imagine being
I
in
definitely.
don't
that type of
I don't
situation.
know. I don't know what's with bombs in Texas, but I have a bomb story where it was my high school. This was like 2014. I was a sophomore at the time. I remember we had just gotten to, I guess, our lunch period, and I remember I was in class, and then the fire drill went off, or the fire alarm went off, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's just a fire drill, I guess." So we walked outside like normal. Everybody's walking outside, and then the teachers are like, "Go to the field," like moving us towards the football field, and we were like, "That's weird. That's never happened before." We're like, "Whatever," you know.
Yeah.
So I remember we were outside for hours. We'd had no idea what was going on. People were getting rumors and stuff, especially from parents, because the school had to let the parents know what was going down. Like, you're probably getting texts from your parents, your kids talking about something going on, why they're outside. But this is what's happening. You need to stay calm. And at the time, it was a rumor that there was a box found in a tree, and somebody reported it to the police as a suspicious package. And everybody was like, what? That's weird. And as time went on, in the Texas heat, it was getting really hot, or it was really hot, and there was no clouds. So everybody's sweating, everybody's having heat strokes, nosebleeds, fights are breaking out. There was like, in my school, there's like over 1,000 students. Just like the freshman class alone, it's like 1,000 kids. So I remember everybody was cheering on this group of kids that ran off from the football field, and like a cop chased them, and everybody was like, yeah, yeah, you go, because everybody wanted to leave. And they were telling parents, you can come get your students. I mean, your students, your kids. You can't come get them. You can, you can't. Don't come near. Come over here. It was just like all the parents were frustrated.
Yeah.
So
I
I
bet. I mean,
remember
why would
I
you
would
get
text
a
my,
yes or no answer?
Yeah.
oh, yeah. So I remember I was texting my mom. I was like, "Hey, like this weird thing's going on. I don't know what's happening, but everybody's really hot, and they're telling us we can call our parents to come get us. We can't. So I would like for you at the time. They were saying yes, your parents come get you. I was like, can you come get me? She was like, yeah, yeah, I'll be there soon. I got to get out of work first. I was like, all right. So as time was going on, the fights, the nosebleeds and everything, and everybody was dehydrated. People were passing out, and then the news station started showing up. But before the
Mm.
news station showed up, there was this coach. She had a case of waters, and I remember all of us were reaching out for her. We were like, can you like, everybody was basically gonna waterfall it. Everyone was gonna share. And she's like, I'm sorry. And she gave it to her class who drank all the water bottles. And it was like, what the fuck, dude?
Rude. That's
So
Wow.
when the news showed up, the teachers started coming out more and being like, hey, you know, we're gonna start taking you to the middle school and the elementary that's literally like right next door.
Mhm.
So this time it was like an hour and a half into what was going on, and all the like heat strokes. I think there was like a paramedic there, and then that's when they started handing out waters, but they handed out the little bitty waters, the little bitty water bottles,
Oh my gosh.
and we were like, what the fuck? But still, we had no idea what was going on, and there was rumors that there was a second bomb in our Lily building. Our Lily building was an extra building with other classrooms. You had to like get across this bridge over the street. Like our high school was huge, so we had to cross over the bridge to get over to that Lily building. And there was rumors the Lily building's smaller, so right there by the Lily building was already the tree with the box in it, and then there was another rumor of the bomb inside the building. So the bomb squad was there. They had a robot. They had an X-ray machine. Like I remember there was pictures, and I can't find pictures right now because I don't remember where they were at. But I was like, this is insane. Like this is literally insane. I remember a fight broke out close by me, and I remember the principal getting choked out.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
Yeah, like I remember seeing the principal, and I remember seeing somebody's hands literally wrapped around his throat, and I was
That's
like,
crazy.
what
Whoa.
is happening? Like it was getting wild. And you could see like news helicopters on the sky. It was insane. And then I went to the elementary. There wasn't enough room in their gym, so we went to the cafeteria, and I remember it was like lunchtime for the kids, so instead of like them eating in the cafeteria, they had to go pick up the food from obviously they got to go pick up the food, and they ate in their classroom, and I know they had no idea what was going on. It
Yeah.
was insane. And then I went home and I found out later that it was just a box of ribbons. It took
Wow.
2-ish hours maybe to find out that the box in the tree was a box of ribbons. It was a cardboard box. And it was mistaken as a bomb.
Oh my
Hmm.
gosh.
I
That
mean,
was
in
insane.
retrospective, it's like, okay, glad they, took such like huge precautions for somebody, reporting a suspicious package.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, no water, it's hot, people are dehydrating, things are getting crazy, like people are scared. It's like you probably could have, moved a little bit faster.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But
We were literally sitting out there for a while, and they could have moved us a lot sooner. But I
yeah,
think they were thinking maybe one of us was one of the suspects or something. Like, oh, one of us put the bomb in the tree. And we were all like, this is really crazy. What's happening? And
yeah,
then it was it was a senior prank, I think it was, but it wasn't. I don't know if one of the seniors made it like made the call, being like, "Oh, there's a suspicious package." I think it was a teacher that made the call, but I think a student, a senior student, put it in the tree as like a prank because we in my school sometimes they like to do senior pranks.
Mm.
mm,
But a box of ribbons in like a
that's crazy.
shoebox, and oh my god, was it the biggest waste of time?
Yeah, that definitely sounds like it could have been handled way
It
better.
it really could have. I feel like I'm assuming, right? I'm assuming that the seniors like skipped that day, right?
Oh, even nobody had
No?
any idea. No.
Hmm.
So if it was like a senior prank, right? Say if it was or like you said, it is a senior prank or something like that. I feel like it could have been fixed by just the seniors like stepping up and be like, "That's not a bomb. That's just a box of ribbons,"
No,
as
Yeah.
I
like a
think it
prank.
got so escalated that they were like,
They were probably like,
shoot,
"Yeah,
if
we don't want to
I
get in
come up,
trouble."
I'm gonna be in so much trouble, especially because the bomb squad was there. Like, literally, I wish I could show pictures. There's like people in like the entire gear. There was a robot that went to go get the box and then came back, and then the x ray machine that took like hours. It was
Dang.
it was
I
dumb.
mean,
It
it's
was
like
so dumb.
I understand like the situation getting escalated and being like, oh, we might get in trouble for this or that, but it's like if you stepped forward and was like, hey, like, sorry, you guys like got called, like I didn't realize what was happening until just now. That
Mm.
box is just a box of ribbons. And then they'll probably still take slow precautions to open it up and check. But I mean, if someone comes forward and it's just like, it's just a box of ribbons, like, I doubt they would have gotten mad and been like, oh my God, like, you're suspended or whatever.
Yeah,
If
I
somebody
don't
was
think it
just
would have
like,
gotten to
hey,
that
like,
point.
it's not this serious, I promise. If somebody had
Oh
just come
yeah.
forward, like, even if they had, like, known the whole time and then were like, oh crap, like, just coming forward and being like, hey, um, like, it's
My
just a
bad.
box of ribbons.
No, yeah,
Oh
I feel like
man.
I definitely agree with that. If somebody just came forward and just like been like, oh yeah, this was like a prank, but
Yeah.
I don't want to get in trouble. I just, I thought it was a harmless idea, but now that I see how it's like extended this far, then dang, maybe I should have been more careful about it. If they were just to own up their actions, I think it would have
Oh
been like
yeah.
a different outcome for sure.
For sure, for
Oh,
sure.
I wish. If anything, I remember the houses surrounding the school were even evacuated,
Dang.
That's
but not the like
crazy.
school right there. I think the other two schools were on lockdown, but I don't know. But they didn't like. They told us to stay, but they like evacuated the houses right there.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it was just because like you guys were already in the area. It was a little bit or easier to go to the surrounding houses and be like, "Hey, you guys need to get out of the area," and that's why they were like, "No parents. Like, we don't want more people in the area than need to be."
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
then
you're
they
right.
probably contacted the elementary school or the middle school, whichever one you said you went to, and they were like, "Hey, we need these students like a little bit farther. Can they come in there?" And then that's why y'all were
Yeah,
taken
it
to the
was
other
both
school.
schools. Like our school was so big, they had to stuff us at both of the schools.
Yeah, I think it was just that they were trying to get as many people out as possible and not have more people come in. So it was like, don't come pick up your kids, unfortunately, and the surrounding houses like, can you like leave?
Oh yeah.
So
It could have
scary
been
though.
handled way better.
Yeah, definitely sounds like it.
Yeah, there definitely would have been a whole other outcome. That would have been a better outcome per se.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, um I have a story, but it's not related to what you guys were talking about.
I really hope it's
I
not another bomb
it
story.
no, 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 no.
That'd be
It
crazy.
no, but it's something that definitely stuck with me for a long time. Um this was back when I was in elementary school. So I was a kid. I was a kid back then. But I want to say this was in like second, third grade at most. uh I used to have this like best friend. Like we used to like do everything together in school and whatnot. And I remember her like now sort of I remember her, but like back then it was just like she would be in school like every day. She wouldn't miss out for anything.
Hmm.
And she was one of the reasons why I didn't miss out in school either, was because I wanted to be with my best friend and blah blah blah. Well, there was this one day I remember that my teacher just put up her picture like on top of the board. Like it was like, how they have the wall and they have like the whiteboard. Well, there's a space
Hmm.
at the top of the whiteboard. It's just like the wall. So she like put a picture frame of her up there. And I remember that day she didn't come in and I was just like, what is going on? Like, why isn't she here? And then like the days after she didn't show up and I was like, what is happening? Like I had no idea.
Yeah.
Um I want to say like a year later I started asking questions. And I was like, what happened to this girl? Like I remember seeing her older brother and sister. But I was just like, what happened to this girl? Like she was here like all the time and now she's not. What's going on? And I remember one of the students who hung out with her outside of school was like, "Oh, she's been kidnapped." And I was just
Oh
like,
my god.
"What?" I was like, "Are you like for real for real?" Um yeah, so apparently she was like hanging out with her one one day a couple days before the teacher posted up her picture, and they were like at a laundromat, and the moms were like, hey, like, here's some money, go get some snacks. They were supposed to stay inside of the laundromat, but they came out, and there was a guy who just happened to be walking by, and they noticed that the guy was watching them. So they were like, the girl who was hanging out with my friend was like, hey, we need to move, like, we can't be here. um so turns out, like, as soon as she turned around, like, she just heard screaming and then realized that she was being taken away. So it was just like, she was like trying to fight the guy, but obviously she was small, so she wasn't going to be able to do much. But she went after and started going after her, like, parents and whatnot, and was like, hey, like, this and this is happening. In the end, I never got to see her again. I tried searching up, like, stories, like news stories, news articles, or anything of the sorts, but I couldn't find anything, and I was just like, what? Like, when I was doing all of that research, like, I feel like I did that like a couple months ago, and I was doing all that research, and I was just like, it just hit me and was like, dang, I wonder what happened to her. Um, I never found anything, and I was just like, was it all like in my head or whatever? But then I found, like, her older sister's like, Facebook page, and they were just like, in memoriam of, and I honestly can't remember her name, but in memoriam of her little sister, and I was just like, oh, like,
Wow.
she's still missing to this day.
Mm. Jesus, really?
That's
She is
crazy.
still missing to this day. They haven't found anything. Um, they closed that. I remember they closed that laundromat. As a matter of fact, that laundromat went out of business, uh, because a lot of people were just scared to go close to
Oh,
that place,
shit.
because of,
Wow.
like, during that time there was a lot of, like, kidnapping reports or whatever, but it had already died down, and then as soon as, like, she got taken, it was just like, all right, we have to close this place down, because it's like, no more, like, there's no people coming over and, like, putting business into it or whatever. So they closed it down. But it was like, I remember it was a big thing back then. And I'll see her brother and sister, like, every once in a while. Now I don't, because I don't go out a lot more. Um
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I haven't seen them for a good minute now, and I'm just like, wow, like, from what I last saw, she was still missing. They
That's
haven't
crazy.
they haven't gotten anything, like, any sort of, like, new information or anything like that, which is really crazy and unfortunate and sad. But
It's
I can't even
crazy. Oh
imagine
my
what that person
god.
is feeling and going through. Like, someone has been missing for literally years.
yeah.
That's terrifying to think about. For her, for her family, like, horrifying.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's horrifying. Oh my god. Not really reminds me, but there's something that happened like last month, like 2 weeks maybe before Christmas, and I would always look it up ever since it happened. It was very big. Like it was like pretty much down the road. Not down the road. A few streets down from where I live.
Mhm.
Um I would look it up and I can't find anything. And JP told me it's probably because they were like immigrants, right?
Mhm.
So there used to be a couple that would sell mattresses, right? Mattresses by the feeder in the freeway.
Mhm.
And they were there every day, every week. They were always there. Everybody pretty much knew their spot. And I remember we even bought a mattress from them. And it's a good mattress, by the way. But
Mm. Mhm.
no, it me and JP were coming back home from just eating, and there was so much traffic. And there's only that much traffic if there's an accident. So I was like, I wonder what happened. And us being nosy, obviously we're looking around, looking for like the fire truck that's blocking the freeway or the police sirens or the lights. And I don't see anything so far. So I'm like, this is really weird, but the traffic's so slow.
Yeah.
And
Right.
as we're going, I look to my right, I can see police cars. This is on the feeder, we're on the freeway. And there's police cars blocking off, there's a crowd, and there's a lady on the road. Her body's covered. And it was like the first time I've ever seen a body, so that was like terrifying. And I was like, I wonder what happened. So since the traffic's so slow, I'm looking it up, and people are talking about it in my little town, and they were like, yeah, this lady, her and her husband pulled over because there was something on the road. There was something in the middle of the road. They almost hit it, but they swerved. So she went to go get it to move it out of the way. And it being the feeder, people are coming on and off the freeway. So people are not exactly going slow. And I remember, oh my God, it's like crazy, but she had also had somebody there with their like emergency lights so that way they wouldn't hit her. But a semi truck can't slow down so fast.
Yeah.
And she got hit by the semi and died on
my
impact.
God.
And her
That's
husband was on the side of the road because they just went off to the side so she could move it.
Mm.
And it was the absolute craziest thing I had ever heard. And I was like, what? I was like, that's crazy. And then later on, I found out it was the couple that was selling mattresses right there.
Oh no.
no.
And I was like, oh, what the fuck? I was like freaking out. Like it like messed me up for 2 weeks.
Mm.
Yeah, definitely.
And oh my God, I looked it up. I was trying to look it up and I could not, probably to this day, like if I looked it up, there will be no article about it. And I don't know why, because it was the biggest traffic jam I had ever been in a while. And usually when there's a traffic jam like that, they are always like, yeah, the freeway shut down because of this accident or this, that. And especially somebody getting hit by a semi.
Yeah.
That is like, that's newsworthy. That's like, you should at least pay some tribute to the family, but there was nothing.
Yeah, definitely.
And to this day, we have never seen the husband back at that spot.
No, yeah, I mean, I bet that's probably a horrifying spot for him. Very traumatic now.
But I'm still like, why did they not talk about it? It's crazy. Like, you don't think, or more people around your neighborhood talk more about it than the actual like news people.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
insane. That's so sad.
That's
You can't even
insane.
imagine how he's feeling.
I really hope that they're doing a lot better. Let's try to get out of this depressing like.
Yeah. Like this is not a great way to start our first episode.
I know. I would like to ask y'all, what are y'all's biggest pet peeves? My biggest pet peeve is when people leave the door open. Like,
oh my God,
I'll have
that's
people
me.
over. I'll have people over, right? And all my doors are always closed. Every single door in this house is closed. But every time I have people over, they'll go use the restroom, they'll go like see a room, like the game room or my bedroom. My bedroom has my PC in it and everything. They'll leave the door open. They'll leave the door open and I'm staring at the door hard. And I know for a fact if they look at me, they can see me staring at it. But they don't. Nobody said anything about it yet. And I'm always like, I have dogs and I have a cat. And I don't like them going into a room they're not allowed into. At least, like, I only allow my dogs in to my bedroom at night when we go to bed. But during the day, like, my cat likes to chew wires. My dog, like, if he wants to and he gets antsy, he'll bite, like, the chairs. And I don't want him doing that. And then another thing that upsets me is after they leave the door open in the bathroom, they also leave the toilet seat up. It sounds like the biggest like stereotypical, oh yeah, a woman doesn't like when the toilet seat's up, but I hate it.
Yeah, definitely.
I hate it so much. And it's like, it feels funny because it feels so stereotypical.
I mean, it's just logical. I mean, when you like when you want to go to the restroom, you don't want to have to like take the extra seconds to put the toilet seat down when it's already supposed to be down and you're used to it being down. like there have been so many times that my mom has had like her guy friends over, and logically, obviously, because you know they live alone or whatever, they'll leave their toilet seat up. So they leave our toilet seat up, and like there are so many times that I have fallen into the toilet because I'm not paying attention because the toilet seat's always down. It's a house full of 3 ladies. The toilet seat's not going to be up. So then they come and they don't put the toilet seat down, and we're like falling in, getting so mad. My mom's telling her friends, she's like, y'all, if you go into that bathroom, like my daughters don't like it, put the toilet seat down. Like there was a while where it got so bad that I was like, I'm gonna put a sign on the toilet. Put the toilet seat down. I was like, I'm tired of falling in. And I had a little piece of paper and I was like, put the toilet seat down, and I taped it to the top of the toilet and I was like, put it down.
Oh
It
yeah,
worked.
no. I've always felt like having this huge pep talk with like everybody that comes over. It's like close the door, please close the door. And I think it got to the point where I told JP I was like getting tired of people not closing doors. And he was like, I don't know if he agreed with me, if he was like, okay, like I'll take
Okay.
mental notes of that and I'll try to tell somebody.
He's just like,
Okay.
all right, got it, Mo. I don't want
Doesn't
to
want the
get in trouble.
confrontation.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
It's just like,
no.
okay.
I definitely understand the whole like not closing doors and whatnot, especially, you know, because I have family who comes over to visit sometimes, and they'll stay over a couple of nights because they live, you know, in Houston or whatever. So they would come over and they have. I know they're kids. I know they're children. I know they're like little babies. Um, but one of the babies understands what I'm saying. So, you know, I'll be like, hey, like, just make sure, like, don't make a mess. You know, keep doors closed. Don't open doors that you see that are closed. You don't need to go into those rooms because they're closed for a reason. So my room currently that I have all of my PC stuff here. So all PC, like the monitors, the keyboard, the mouse. You know, I have my PlayStation here. I have my camera, like my photography camera, and I'm just like, I don't need you going in here. Um, so don't open this door, you know, and not, especially when I'm in it. Um,
Oh yeah.
so there are times where, like, you know, my little brother's playing with, you know, our cousins, and he loves to run around the house. So like they'll open doors to try and hide in rooms and whatnot. Um, and it just got to the point where like they kept opening the doors and they just wouldn't leave it alone. And I was just like, ooh, like I'm not trying to yell at my cousins right now. But it's definitely a big distraction, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, and like whenever I'm streaming or if I'm playing games with other people, you know, the door will be open. I'm like, no, close it. It's not that hard. Just reach out, grab, pull, close. There.
Yeah.
There.
That's
Easy.
it. That's it. That's the only thing I ask is that you leave my door closed. But yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely understand that big pet peeve. I think one of my other pet peeves would be like heavy breathers or like
Ooh.
loud chewing. You know, like, you know, smacking whenever you're eating food. Like, don't smack when you're eating
Oh,
food.
Oh
yeah.
I get it.
yeah.
You enjoy the food, but please enjoy it in your inside voice.
Your inside voice.
You do not
Man.
need to
Yeah,
smack
no,
food.
definitely.
I know, like, the only thing I think the only reason I'll let you, like, slurp food or, like, noodles or whatever is because in Asian culture, if you don't slurp food, you don't enjoy the food.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Like, that's the one thing I've learned recently. So that's the only exception, is that if you're eating, like, in front of, or like eating Asian food or whatever, that's the only reason I'm letting you slurp food. But that's it. Like, there's nothing else that you should be like. Don't slurp your water or don't slurp your coffee or whatever. Don't.
Yeah.
It's just
Well,
like rude.
yeah.
In like my opinion, it's very rude. But according to the Asian culture, it is actually a compliment. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only thing that passes. Like,
that's the only thing.
I know,
Don't
I know.
don't judge me.
Rob says that he's not breathing into the mic, but like I've been in his room
Dude.
and he only has a ceiling fan, and sometimes you can hear like or like the air, the quote unquote air. And
Yes.
everybody's like, Rob, stop breathing into the mic. And he's like, it's my fan. And he only has the ceiling fan. That ceiling fan is kind
It
of high
doesn't
up. He
catch
doesn't
though.
have
Yeah.
a unit or anything. There's no reason for, to hear breathing or whatever in his mic.
Mm.
And I don't hear it much anymore. I think enough people called him out on it.
I
But
think
every once in a while
so.
you'll hear
I
it.
remember
And
I
it's like,
remember we called out on it, Allie and I did when we first started playing with you guys. We were just like, dang,
We
who's
were like,
breathing
who has
into
a
their
fan on
mic?
the
Yeah.
who has a fan on their mic that hard?
and everybody was like, Rob.
Yeah, just straight
Rob.
up like straight away. Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
yeah.
Yeah, I want to say
So
probably
funny.
one of my biggest pet peeves is, and I've told multiple people this, it's people that like second guess things that I know for certain. Like when I'm saying something and I know it to be like fact or truth, or like I know it's real or whatever, and they're like, no. Like just straight up
I
no, like ignore everything I just said, like don't even listen to me, and it's like, okay.
dude.
Like
Oh
that
my
bugs me
gosh.
so much.
Yes.
And
I
then
thought it was the only one.
especially when
No.
like later on I find out that they found out that I was right, and I'm like, ooh, like it's so irritating.
I
That leads
don't
me
want to
to a
bring out.
story.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, okay, sorry. It's it's like it's kind of like a kind of sad story. I find it funny at this point. Like it makes me laugh, but it's more like trauma laughing. Um, when I first caught my dad cheating on my mom, and I
Oh,
told her, my dad was telling my mom that I was lying, and my mom believed my dad,
Oh
oh,
my
and
my.
she made me hug it out with him. And I
Stop.
yeah.
was furious. Oh my god. I wish I could explain the amount of rage I had. I was looking at this man, teary eyed, angry, and he has this smug look on his face. He
Oh,
had this smug look, like I won. And I was like, "Ugh." I
yeah,
had to
that's
hug him.
definitely infuriating.
And when he cheated again, and I found out I actually had more proof this time, and I showed her. She was like, "I'm sorry." And to this day, I'm still very infuriated about it.
Yeah,
But
no,
it's trauma
definitely.
laughing. It makes me laugh. But it's like, I
Yeah.
hate that.
That's like
Yeah.
my mom used to do that. Like teachers would say I did something when I know I didn't, and she would take their word for it because they were the adult, and oh my god, I got in trouble so many times because of that. And it was like, dude, like I said I didn't do it. Like what more do I need to say that you believe me over this random person that's my teacher? But it was
Mm.
because
Oh.
they were the adult that I didn't get believed or listened to. And it's just like, ugh, one of my biggest pet peeves. I hate it so much.
I
I know
agree.
Clumsy was going to say something, and I
Oh no,
accidentally
it was more like
spoke over her.
it was more of like a joke going with what Ali was saying. Like cuz she had said that whenever people find out that she was actually telling the truth or like she had the like they
Yeah,
find out that that it's true and like it's fact or whatever. I was like, "Oh, don't want to pull out the I told you so, but like I told you so."
yeah, I told you so.
Like that's what I was
Oh,
going for.
Yeah,
those have to be like the top pet peeves ever to me.
yeah, for sure. I literally cannot stand it. That is something that boils my blood no matter what.
But since we're on the topic of things we absolutely do not like, what is a character trait you hate the most? I have one where um I hate people who are overly affectionate. Like, yeah, like, oh, your boyfriend's like so sweet to you, like overly affectionate is like the right amount of affectionate is like that's nice. But I had this ex we dated for a week, and I was a freshman. I should have seen the red flag as soon as like a junior was asking me out. And I remember that we would walk through the halls, he would hold my hand, and that he would hold my hand up in the middle of the hall, like as if we're cheering about something. And I felt so embarrassed because I was like, I'm very to myself. So he would go above and beyond to try and like scream out our relationship to the world, and I was like, I don't want to be seen. I don't
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't want to be out there. And I remember no, there was like multiple red flags, all right? But one of the things that really ticked me off was there was a pep rally, and only all the other classes except freshmen were going. And I remember he just walked me to class, and obviously it's another red flag when they say I love you like a day or two into the
Oh, yeah,
relationship.
definitely.
But I remember uh my it was an English class, and the lesson was going on. They announced the pep rally, and I remember I saw him in the classroom window, like the door, and he had heart. He like kind of signed "I love you" with his hands, and everybody had already seen him walk me to class, and everybody turned to look at me, and I was like,
Oh my god.
no, no,
Oh
no.
no.
Oh my god. And then I remember I had a class with his sister too. And this was the other red flag, was that apparently his family likes to fight a lot verbally and physically.
Oh.
So she was like, yeah, we got an argument with our mom, and or no, he was telling me about it, that his sister and his mom were arguing, and the sister shoved the mom, so he shoved his sister.
Mm.
And I was like, yeah, no, that's not me.
I
That's
can see
not
that.
me. But overly affectionate people, I know he was looking for something, but I knew he had more intentions when I heard like the family was like very, very physical. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I'm a dip. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
I'm a dip.
that's a very giant red flag. It's like flashing red flag.
So when somebody's overly affectionate, like I'm just like, no, absolutely not.
Definitely.
Get away from me. Don't touch me. What is the
Yeah, no,
crazy?
I definitely agree with that. I do agree with, like, being to yourself, like, because I don't like, how can I put this in not a mean way? um, so I don't like being hugged, or like, I don't like physical contact per se. Like, it's to a certain degree. Like, if we're like, really good friends, and like I've known you guys for like a long time or whatever, like I'm okay with like a hug from you guys. But like, I'm saying, like, people who are like
Well,
over, like,
yeah.
like what you said, overly affectionate, like people who are just like that out of nature. Like, there's
Yeah.
certain people who are not like real good friends with you, but they're like, they kind of want to be, so they're trying to like suck up to you, I guess you could say. And it's just like they give you all these hugs and like whatever. But yeah, it's just, it's definitely one of the things I don't like, is just physical touch from just anyone. It's just like, if it were my best friends, then yes, that's fine. But like, people who I don't know you like that, don't do it. you know.
Yeah, no,
Um.
I have a physical touch thing too. It's
Yeah.
like me and JP discussed about it. His love language is touch. Like he'll be like, I want to squeeze you all the time, and he knows that my love language is not physical touch. It's like spending time with someone. How do I say it? It's like it's
Quality time?
quality time. Yeah,
Mm.
quality time.
Mm.
And um I don't like physical touch, and there'll be people I don't know trying to calm me down, and the first thing they do is try to hug me, and I'll be like, "Don't touch me."
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'll just kind of like jerk to the side real quick, like, I don't know about that yet. like, give me
I'm good.
some time and then I'll get there, but like not right now.
Yeah,
Oh
definitely.
yeah.
I think one of my other like character traits that I really don't like is, I'm not, I can't say that I'm a very energetic person, cuz I'm really not. So if you're like super duper energetic, it kind of like brings me down a little bit. I used to
Mhm.
have a friend who I went to high school with, and she was like super super duper energetic. Like, she was happy all of the time. And it was just like I get it, you're happy, but I'm gonna need to like back up a little bit. um like she understood, right? She knew that I was just like especially in high school, I was just a very down type of person. I'm not very energetic per se. um so whenever she was energetic, she would bring me down a little bit, and I'm just like
Yeah. I mean, if
yeah.
that's not you, it's very hard to keep up with, and it's
Yeah,
very
it's very draining for me. Like
yeah,
Oh
you're
yeah.
you're energetic, so I'm trying to match up to your level. Like I'll get there, but you have to give me time. And it's just like, if it's one of those days where I'm like, meh, then it's not gonna be a thing that's gonna happen. I'm not gonna be able to match up with you on that day. But
yeah,
there were days where I was able to match up with her energy and be like, hey, like yeah, yada yada yada. But there were days that she would notice that I'm like, I can't match up with you today. Like, this is not a really good day. So she'd be like, okay, I get it. No worries. Like, I'll back up a little bit, you know? But there were days where I'm like, if you just give me time, if you're just patient with me, then I'll get there with you, you know?
yeah.
Those people who are impatient, mm, those are another ones. But, anyways, I'm done. Allie?
um, I want to say one of the biggest character traits that I hate most is like when people are extremely petty.
Mm.
And I mean that to
Ooh.
an extent because, like, I myself can get a little petty, like, when something happens to me and I'm just like, oh, really? Like, I kind of clap back in a sense.
Mm.
But, like, the overly petty people who make it their entire personality, like, everything has to be petty no matter what happens to them, what the situation is, like, everything they do, how they move is just petty. Like, that, like, making it your whole personality is something that just bugs me so much because I'm like, it's never that serious. Like
Oh
it's
man.
never that needed that like you always need to be petty about something.
Mm.
Like the people that kind of have that almost victim complex that like no matter what happens they're able to like be petty about it
Right, right,
and
right.
like go back on that person in an extremely petty way. Like it's so aggravating because it's never that like serious basically.
Oh yeah. I know plenty of petty people. I myself can be really petty. Like if I get angry enough, I'll get really petty and I'll probably hurt somebody's feelings and I don't mean to do it, but like if I get aggravated enough, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I know plenty of people, especially the group chat, who definitely are extremely petty. Kid James.
Mm.
James can be
We're not trying to say
petty.
a lot of names here, but
Don't like I
Oh
don't
yeah.
mind like if you're petty like because
oh
something happened, but like petty for no reason is what bugs me.
yeah. See,
Like there's
okay,
absolutely no reason you should be petty right
yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, I agree.
That
It's
Oh,
one of those like, all right, like I feel like, okay, to me, it's like, if you're gonna be petty, I'll be petty back to you. You know, it's
hmm
that type of like, if don't show me respect, I'm not showing respect back, type of thing.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
definitely.
very much like that. Yeah.
hmm
but
But just like over the top, out of nowhere pettiness is just like, please get out of my face. Like I don't have
mhm.
the time, the energy. I'm not in the mood. Like
being
don't associate
yeah.
yourself with me because I'm not associating myself with you.
Yeah, being petty is not a personality trait.
It's really not. And so many people make it that it's become such like a common, like socially accepted thing to be overly petty. And it's like, please, can we go back to when it wasn't? Because it's annoying.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
It's really annoying.
Okay.
But that's
I
probably my
got
biggest character trait. So,
I've got a few questions here. And I
mm-hmm.
think we can all take turns with it, but this isn't a whole it's kind of a game. Have you ever?
Ooh, I love Have You Ever.
So, have you ever broken a bone? I personally say I have not. Well,
No, I haven't. I haven't either.
I
Not that
have
I can
not
think of.
broken a bone. I have a shoulder that dislocates itself, and I can dislocate
what?
Yo.
yeah, like I don't know if it's like the only double jointed bone in my body or what, but like I can purposefully dislocate my shoulder. But
It's
broken
crazy.
bone wise, no, I've never broken a bone. I used to
Broken-wise, yeah,
really,
no.
really want to break a bone so I could like have crutches. Like I used to want to break a bone so bad,
Trust me, you don't want those.
but I've
Take it
never
from a
broken.
girl who's fucked up her knee.
Yeah, no, I've never broken anything.
How did you
No.
find out that your shoulder could dislocate itself, or that you could dislocate it?
I stretched it one day and it popped out, and I was like, oh, but it didn't hurt. And then I like if I put my arm back in that position and like it pops out of place. Like if I put my arm like kind of like up a little bit and then go backwards, it pops. And like I used to tell people like it was like such a quirky thing I used to do and it was really funny. I don't know why I did it. I would tell people I could do it and let them feel it, and I just loved people's reactions because people.
Yeah.
It was funny as fuck to me. I was like, "Hey, yeah, I could dislocate my shoulder," and they were like, "What?" And I was like, "Come feel it," and they were like, "Yeah."
Oh
It
my
was great.
god,
It was a great
that's
time.
crazy.
Yeah, so if we
Yeah.
ever hang out, I'll let y'all feel my dislocated shoulder.
I have a thing about bones. Like if you do that, I'm probably gonna feel physically sick.
No,
Ooh.
you know, I won't do it around you, but
Because
I mean, I wouldn't mind like poking around.
because if I
I'll
watch
let
a
you feel
video or a movie and there's a broken bone involved, I always like I flinch and I'm like
See,
I mean,
that's
it
the
freaks
thing.
me out so bad.
This is
Yeah.
so over exaggerated in the way that they add extra sound to bone things.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
like,
probably what it is.
So I totally
Is that-
understand that. Just the sound
Yeah.
of yeah, no, yeah,
Yeah,
See,
I remember I saw this video and it was somebody showed me it on the bus and I remember I was like, it was like an arm wrestling video.
Oh,
And I think you might know what I'm talking about, but it was a
think I know.
girl and I don't remember who else, but they were arm wrestling and then she got obviously she lost, but when they slammed her arm, it broke. Like it was nasty turning. And I was like, "Oh,
That
what the fuck?" Oh,
like,
I put that out of my mind and now it came back after
no,
several
no,
years.
yeah, you're just like,
it's back with a vengeance.
Yeah, see, that's the thing with me. It's like if you describe like an injury or like something like gory to me, I'm like grossed out. But if I were to see it with my own eyes, I'm just like, I can take it. like I feel like that's like that's why I don't like whenever like people talk about their injuries or whatever, like their wounds or like broken bones or whatever, because they add the details, like they say it out loud. Yeah, like they say it out loud, but like and I'm just like I'm imagining it like in 6 different ways, and I'm just like, wait.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
like,
like
wait.
a movie. It's you got this angle, and then you got this angle, and then you got this angle over here. There's a
Yeah, and
camera
it's
right
just
there.
like, it's really weird whenever you're explaining it to me, because it's like I get really grossed out. But if I were to see it in person, like if you were to show me in person, I'd be like, oh, cool.
Not as gross as it sounds. It's just that you can feel it. That people were like, "Ah, you! Oh my god!"
Yeah.
But
I know.
it's really not that bad. Like you don't see anything. Like it's nothing crazy. You don't hear it, but you can feel it.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that freaks me out. I haven't seen a broken bone in person, and I hope I never do. I'm pretty sure I will, and I'm not looking forward to it.
I hope I don't. Yeah, no, definitely.
Oh my goodness.
Want to pick a topic, a category, or should I?
That's up to you. You can pick a category.
Okay,
or whatever.
I will. Okay. So, have you ever gotten in trouble at school or at church?
Ooh, I was kind of looking forward to this one, just because like I told Kat that that it's something that I did when I was really little, and it's something that when you're a kid you don't think too much about, like, oh, it isn't that bad, but I guess obviously now if you hear it, it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
I had a friend who used to be able to flip his eyelids, and I hated it.
Oh, yeah.
People did that. Oh,
Like they did it to me on purpose to purposely make me mad, and I remember this was like, you know, when it's potty time or whatever, and you're washing your hands, everybody's washing their hands together. And so he would do that right there. And I remember I told him, I'm gonna kill you. And he got scared and he told a teacher. And I remember getting called to the counselor's office, and she was like, listen, you can't say that to people. And I was so little, like I was little. This was like first grade. I don't know, maybe even like kindergarten. And I remember I was like, is it really that bad though? Like he knows I was probably joking because obviously, look at me, I'm fucking tiny. I'm a little bitty child. What does he have to be afraid of? And now when I look back at it, I'm like, oh my god, what the fuck was wrong with me? I don't know why I did all that. It was, it's something I'm not proud of. It's a story I haven't told in a long time.
Dang,
And
that's crazy.
I remember that's where I got most in trouble because obviously I just told somebody I'm gonna kill you, and I told him that, and I remember I was upset. I was genuinely upset that he would flip his eyelids, and it scared him.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he looks back at it now. It's like, what did I have to be scared of that tiny child?
This small little bitty baby. Why was I scared?
Oh hell, I don't know why he was like. It's
I've definitely gotten in trouble a couple of times in school. But I think one of the ones that I definitely remember to this day was when I was in middle school. I had a really big sweet tooth back then. Like I loved candy. Um, and there was this math teacher we had, and he would always have this bag of Jolly Ranchers, and that used to be my favorite candy ever. Back then. So he would have this big old bag of Jolly Ranchers, and every time we got a question right or whatever, he would throw us one. But I was the type of kid who didn't like to participate, so I never raised my hand. um so I was, it got to, so there was this one time where we were working on projects or whatever, and I was really close to this bag. Like I was like, I could reach in and like pocket shit. So there's, he was busy with another student, and I like quickly reached in, grabbed some, and put it in my pocket. and then I just see this girl like from across the class, and she's like, grab me a couple, like grab me some, right? And so then I was like, bet, like I could do this again, quickly grab some, pocket it, and then there's this other kid who did the same thing, and I was like, damn, okay. In the end, I had a big old handful of Jolly Ranchers in my hand. So I and I used to wear this jacket, like this like poofy jacket, because it was winter time. So I used to have this poofy jacket, and my pockets were like super warm. So I would quickly put them in my pockets, like the front pockets of the jacket, and it got to the point where I got caught. So like I quickly, like as soon as I took out my hand from the bag and quickly put it in my pocket, like he saw what I was doing, and then I was like, quickly turn around, pretend like you're waiting for somebody to come back to the restroom or something. So he came up to me, he was like, what did you do? And I was like, nothing.
Nothing at all.
And then he was like, take out your hand out of your pocket. And I was like, okay. So then I took out one piece, right? And he was like, is this it? And I was like, no.
Oh no.
So
you told on yourself.
Yeah, I was a kid. I didn't know what I was doing. So then I was like, but at the same time I was like, I'm gonna see if I can trick him a little bit here. So I took out like maybe like 5 pieces out. And then he was like, thank you for being honest. And then that's when I was just like, oh, I kind of felt bad after that. I kind of felt bad after that. But yeah, so then he like put it back in his bag, and then we all left, right? As soon as we were walking out, like the girl was like, she had told me, she was like, oh, good job getting caught or something, like good job, right? And then I was like, joke's on you, I got a pocket full. Like
still have more.
Yeah, I still had like a crap ton of like Jolly Ranchers in my pocket. So I like gave her one piece out of like the 50 that I had in my pocket.
You're like, shh, don't say anything. You're like bribing
Yeah,
her.
yeah. Yeah, just like
Anything.
it's a quarter. Like,
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
no. It was definitely one of the times that I remember to this day. And it's one of the stories that I rarely talk about, but it's there. Like it's part of my history. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was definitely
Crazy.
like a crazy time for me. It was just like,
You could
like
have been
getting
a
caught
whole
one time
ringleader.
in that school, and it was just like Jolly Ranchers. Like that was it.
Yeah.
You could have been
I
the ringleader. I'm sorry.
no. I was a really, 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 really bad kid in elementary school.
Oh
Oh wow.
dear.
So I have a few stories of me getting caught doing some bad shit, but one of the worst ones was I had a friend, like, the way my elementary school worked, it was like there was art, gym, and music, and every day you would go to like a different one. It would go back and forth. So it was like music, art, or sorry, music, gym, art, gym, music, kind of like back and forth like that.
Hmm.
And I had one of the girls, like, she was my friend, but she had a note for gym that like she couldn't participate because um she couldn't participate because like she was hurt, like her leg was hurt or something. She had like crutches, like it was like a genuine doctor's note, like she couldn't participate in gym. And I was a horribly fat kid, so I was like, ooh, notes get you out of doing things in gym. So
Uh
me being a horrible kid, I was like, I wrote a note to my gym teacher, and I was like, Allie can sit out of gym due to like injury, like leg injury or whatever. And I signed it with my mom's signature.
Oh.
you're
And
joking.
nope,
Oh
I
my
signed it with
god.
my mom's signature as best as I thought it looked. And I gave it to my gym teacher. And at the time, she was like, okay, yeah, whatever, go sit out.
Hmm.
I don't know what happened in between, like, whatever. I'm guessing she realized that the signature looked horrible, that it was in child handwriting. Um, like, I'm sure my handwriting looked horrible. I didn't have, adult handwriting as a like 8-year-old child. Um, so basically, however it happened, I ended up getting called to the office. Like later that day,
Right.
I got called to the office and they were like, we know what you did. We know that you like forged your mom's signature.
Oh
Uh,
no.
this is bad because like that's not something you want to do. Like that's genuinely like in adult life you can get in trouble for like forging people's signatures. So like they were really mad at me and they were like, you can't do that. Like blah blah blah. So they called my mom and they were like, hey, like she's forged your signature. She's made this fake note. Yada yada yada. And my mom is like pissed off. Like she is mad at me. Like she picks me up from school later that day, like whole day after that, like I know she's mad, like my stomach is in knots. I'm like, I'm gonna get in so much trouble. Like I did not think of the consequences. Like I didn't think there were consequences.
Hmm.
um, so like she picks me up and she's yelling at me the whole car ride home. She's like, you can't do that. Like this is, like you can get in really serious trouble. Like why would you do that? Completely unnecessary. Of course, when I get home, like when we get home, I get beat, of course. Um, but that was like probably one of the worst things I did. Um, like I got in so much trouble for forging her signature. And like, little me at the time, I was like, I don't really know why this is such a big deal. Like obviously looking back on it now, I'm like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that.
Hmm.
But little me was like, well, I wrote a note and I put my mom's signature on it. Like, why am I in so much trouble? but
I think I would have done that too.
it was pretty bad. Like, it was literally just my brain was like, oh, a note could get me to sit at a gym. I hate gym. I don't like, activities. Gym isn't fun for me. So I'm going to write a note to sit at a gym. And yeah, it caught up to me in a very bad way. I got in a lot of trouble.
Oh no.
I think I know cursive now because I remember after you would read an AR book, you would have to have proof. So your parent would have to kind of like put a little bitty signature, like their like first
Oh
last name.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I remember I would not like to do my homework or anything like that, so I would forge my mom's little signature for the AR books.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think my teacher caught on to like few months later, where she kind of just started noticing the difference between two different signatures.
Yeah.
And I was like, sheesh, how did I get there? But I was like, no, I swear my mom's signing them. And she was like,
I know.
okay.
Yeah, no, I remember vividly like practicing over and over to try to get it like as close to my mom's as I could. Like, I wrote lightly, I wrote heavily, I wrote as cursive as I could, like stared at a signature on something else she put. Like, I went deep into it to try to sit at a gym.
Oh, yeah, no. I think that's the only way I know cursive now.
Forging signature.
Yeah.
What a great way to learn.
Illegal activities.
Woohoo!
Oh my
Yeah, it was a very scary day for me. I was anxiety nauseous.
Oh no, I
Proud
know
of
that
myself,
feeling.
though. Butterflies in my stomach. Yeah, I have so many horrible stories from elementary school. I was so bad. Like, thinking back on it now, I'm like, what the fuck was wrong with me? I was so bad.
Well, okay, so since we're on the topic of like school and like getting in trouble and whatnot, then
Mhm.
have you guys ever talked your way out of trouble per se?
I have one. It wasn't school related. It was I
It
remember it
doesn't
was in
have to
high
be.
school, but um I remember my neighbors had just gotten a new dog. Like it was a puppy. And I was like, this puppy's really cute. And I forgot who I was with. It was a friend of mine. And I remember I was talking about the puppy next door and I was like, they're so cute. And my neighbors weren't home. So I was like, oh, let's play with the puppy for a little bit and then we'll put the puppy back. So she was like, yeah, that's a good idea. So I opened the gate and we're playing with the puppy right there by the gate. And a cop drives by and they pull up and they're like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, my neighbor's dog got out and I was just putting her back. She's so little, she squeezes through the gate. And obviously, the dog's really little. And my friend is sweating by me. She
Oh
is freaking
no.
out, but she's like, you can notice if you stare at her, like, look at her. If he was staring at her, she would have broken. She would have been like, I'm sorry, officer. We
Yeah.
wanted to play with the dog. But
Mhm.
no, it was, I was like lying through my teeth, like freaking out, but I had to be really calm because my friend was freaking out. And I was like, fuck, and I live right here. And then if my parents get home and the cops right here and I get in trouble, I'm gonna be in deep trouble. So I was like, pull it together. So yeah, I lied to him and I told him the dog got out and he was like, all right, well, and then as he was like driving off, he drove really slowly. He was watching us put the dog back.
Mm.
And then when he drove off, we went in my house, and she was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that." And thinking back, it wasn't that bad of a situation, considering like I was gonna put the dog back. It's not like I was stealing the dog, but damn, that was the only time I lied or talked myself out of getting in trouble.
Mhm.
And ever since then, I was like, I have to be really careful about what I do.
Yeah, definitely. I honestly can't remember if I've ever talked myself out of getting in trouble. Well, actually, yeah, because it's kind of another story, a little bit from elementary school. Well, not a little bit, it is in elementary school. Like I said, I was a horrible child. um, Basically, there was this one day that one of the kids in my class, his name was Mario. And so like I thought it was like really funny. Like the whole class thought it was funny. We're children, everybody knows the Mario games. It's so fun that his name is Mario.
Mm-hmm.
So, everybody's joking with him and we're like, haha, Mario this, Mario that, stuff about the game, like where's your Yoshi? Yada yada, just funny stuff. He was in on it too, so it wasn't like we were bullying him. Like he started the jokes. But there was one day that I don't even remember what I said. And I don't know how my teacher misheard me. I said something about his name, obviously joking, and my teacher apparently heard me say, "Why would your parents name you that?"
Oh no.
She like serious question, like, "Why would your parents name you that?" So
Right.
she tells my mom, she like emails my mom or whatever, and she's like, "Hey, like your daughter, she's asking like rude questions. Like she asked this kid like why his parents would name him that." And like I get home and or not home, but like my mom picks me up and she's like talking to me about it and she's like, so your teacher contacted me and she said that you like asked a kid why he was named, what he was named. And I looked at her and I was like, no. And I was like, I didn't ask him that. And she was like, well, your teacher said you did. Like she was like starting to get upset, like thinking I'm being like a horrible child. And so, like, at the time, I remembered, what I asked him. And so I was like, no, I said, like, yada, yada, yada. Like, I don't know how she would have heard that, but, like, I didn't ask him, why he was named that. And this is also kind of where my pet peeve plays in, because there was a little bit of time in trying to explain to my mom that I did not ask him that.
Mm-hmm.
She was, like, on my teacher's side, like, believing my teacher, even though I know what I said. But basically like the whole car ride home I'm like telling her, like getting it upset myself that she's not listening to me, that like I didn't call, like I didn't ask him that. um but basically she was like, I was like, I want to say I started crying.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
I like when I get so upset I cry. And
Right.
I think like from thinking I was going to get in trouble because she wasn't believing me and being upset, I like started crying. And I think it was partly because I started crying and because I like kept telling her, I was like, I swear I didn't ask him that. That she was like, okay, okay, like I understand, like, she stopped getting mad at me and she was like, okay, you're not in trouble, like blah blah blah. And like my teacher had also gotten mad at me because like she gave me a look. Like I remember she gave me a look when she thought like I said what she heard. And so I guess I don't know if my mom like emailed her or whatever, but the next day she like comes up to me and she was like, I'm so sorry, like you're not in trouble, like I don't know why I heard that, yada yada yada. And it was just like so much intense, like everything went into like I didn't even say it, but like she heard it. But I guess it's probably like one of the times that I talked myself out of getting like in serious trouble because like my teacher and my mom thought I was like bullying this kid.
Mm.
And I asked him a completely different question than what
Right.
she. But yeah, that's probably the time that I've talked myself out of getting in trouble.
No, yeah,
That
I I'm just like you. I can't really think of anything other than because like my story was closely like related to yours, but mine was that my teacher thought that I was asking another student about a curse word. This was back in elementary, so it was like no like small kids should be talking about curse words or whatever. But but I had said something and she mistook it as me like asking what a curse word meant, and like she immediately got mad at me and was like, I know what that means, so you shouldn't be saying it, blah blah blah, right? So she just like started going off on me and called my dad. And so then like as soon as I got home he questioned me about it and then was like, I was like, no, I didn't say any of that. Like, what I was asking was this, this, and this. So then he was like, oh, I can see where she thought. I don't remember what the conversation was about, but he was like, yeah, I could see why she thought that. But, so then, he got on the phone again, started talking to her. So she apologized the next day and she was like, I thought you were talking about something else. And I was like, girl, I don't even know what you talk about.
yeah.
It was, I can't really say that there were other times because I don't really remember any other times.
Yeah, honestly, me trying to remember, I feel like I rarely like ever talked myself out of getting in trouble because like I would always get in trouble. Like nobody believed me because
Right.
there were times that I shouldn't have been believed. Like I'm like I was a bad child. So there were times when like I didn't do it or whatever, and I think I wasn't believed. So I can't remember ever talking myself out of trouble. I got many a whoopings from not being able to talk myself out of being in trouble. So
Yeah. No, I don't think to this, like as of right now at least. I feel like I'll remember like later on, but as of right now I really don't think there's any other stories that I have that have to do with the like talking out of getting in trouble or anything like that. Um yeah, I don't think so, man. Actually, wait. No. Lies. I do remember this one time. But this one time it was because there was a girl that who didn't like me. She got me in trouble. But luckily my mother was not the type to believe a lot of people. Like she would, she knew that she could trust me. Um so there was this one time, and I remember this one because I was in band during the time, so I like used to play the violin, and we
mhm.
were getting out of that class, and as soon as we were walking out, like she came up to me and she was like she was saying a bunch of stuff that she didn't like me, blah blah blah. And she was like, "Oh, your mom's here." And I was like, "Okay, like I'll go see her then or whatever, right?" And she was like, uh I remember she even warned me. That was the thing. She warned me and I knew it was her. She was like, "Oh, Bess, you can't she was like, better be careful, don't get in trouble." So she like ran off, and it turns out, I went to the office to see if I could find my mom. Turns out she had told my mom that I called her a curse word. And my mom was like, "Hey, this girl came up to me saying that you called me this." Um
Oh,
and she was like, "I just want you to know that is a curse word. That's a bad word. You can't say that. And I am your mother. So,
yeah,
either tell me the truth now, or you're going to have to get a little visit from my friend the bell." I was like, I don't want the bell. um but no, I was like, "Yeah, no, that didn't happen. Like she came to tell me that you were here, but I mean, she told me like," and then I told her what happened. Like I told her what she had told me, like better not get in trouble or whatever. And she was like, "Oh," and then like I had already told her before, like the girl doesn't like me or whatever. Like she kept bullying
yeah.
me or whatever. And so she was like, "Oh, is this that girl?" And I was like, "Yes, this is that girl." And she was like, "Okay, I see how it's working out now." So I remember she actually told the principal. She talked to the principal because like the principal knew me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and she talked to the principal. So the principal called the other girl's mom over, and so my
Oh,
mom and her mom were talking. And I remember the next day, her mom was like, or her mom came with her to school and sat in the classroom with her.
dang.
You know how like whenever kids get in trouble, like the teachers
Yeah,
are like,
parents
"Hey,
come sit in the class.
we need
Yep.
yeah what you would need you to come and sit in class or whatever." She did that
Dang.
exact thing, but she didn't wait for like a teacher or like the principal to tell her to do it. She came in on her own. So
It's
then I was
hilarious.
just like,
Wow.
wow. Like I kept looking like back, and she like I could see her mom like staring at her daughter, like giving her the death stare, and I was like, ugh. But that's
That's
the
what
only
she did, though.
time that I
She did
can
it
really
to
remember.
herself.
Yeah, no, she was like definitely embarrassed. I feel like
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, it's
it's
embarrassing.
embarrassing to
For
have your
that kid,
parents in
your
class.
parent had to come sit in class. My mom threatened that so many times. That's probably what made me straighten up my act a little bit. I was like, I do not want my mom in this classroom with me.
Oh man. Yeah,
That's
It's
no,
like
but I definitely remember
crazy.
that one. That one definitely stuck with me, especially
hilarious.
because like during the time I loved playing the violin, but I had to give it up because I was moving schools around that time, and it was just
Mm,
like, but yeah, that's definitely one of
That
the
is
ones that stuck with me.
yeah,
that is
that's
so cool. You know how to play violin, or you knew how to play violin.
Yeah, I knew how to play the violin. I was it was during the time, like I spent a whole year like learning it, so I got to keep the violin at home like during that year. And I also learned like, I asked the violin teacher or the instructor, I was like, hey, can teach us how to play the happy birthday song? Because I really wanted to make my mom's birthday like super special. And I was the type of person who liked to be a perfectionist. So I was like, we need decorations, we need music. And I was like, bet, I have a violin. I'm going to play a happy birthday song for my mom because she's the best in the world. And I was like, yeah, during that time, like, when you're a kid, you're like, oh, my parent is like the best parent out there. So
Yeah.
I would always be like, my mom is the best. Like, my mom is always the best. So she deserves the best. And I was like, I remember I practiced that happy birthday song for so long, and I managed to fuck it up in the end.
Oh
I
no!
did so bad, dude. I was so embarrassed. Like, you know how whenever like you're playing and then you get that like squeaky like note out in there.
Oh yeah,
I did that
No.
exact thing, and I
oh
was so mad at
no!
myself and so disappointed. I was like, how could you do this? Like, I remember I
Oh.
gave myself a whole speech. I was like, you practiced for so long and you managed to mess it up. I was like, you got that squeaky note. I was
Oh
like,
no!
you are a disappointment. And I was like, I was so hard on
Oh
myself because I was trying to make it so special for my mom.
I'm sure she loved it
Oh yeah,
anyway.
she was like, thank you so much for the song. And like, she
If
was
the
like, don't
whole
feel
thing was
bad.
singing, I'm sure she would have loved it
Yeah,
anyway.
she was like,
Because it was you doing something. It's the thought that counts.
yeah. And see, the thing is, I managed to make it up. I was like, I did the so the you know how Hispanics have the song Las Mañanitas? Like, estas son las mañanitas, right? Like, they have this it's like a separate, like a morning time birthday song. And I
Oh, uh-huh.
managed to learn that one. Like, estas son las mañanitas que
Yeah.
cantamos. Yeah, that one. I managed to learn that one in time for me to play it in the morning. So the morning one was fine. Like, I didn't do any squeaky notes or anything. But it was the one where we were like together, like with the family, that I messed it up. And I was just like, I was so embarrassed. And I was
And
like, you're supposed
there
to
were
be
more
good.
people. Oh.
I was so hard on myself
Oh.
back then. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. I haven't heard that song. I haven't heard that song in a while. JP's dad loves to sing that on birthdays.
Oh yeah, no. My mother loves to sing that on my birthday. Well, on our birthdays because my kiddos are here as well. But yeah. A hard kid on my own self. Like, I was my own bully back then.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Yep.
I know happy birthday in German. I know the birthday
You
song
know,
in German.
how do
Yeah,
you know it in German?
because my mom is German.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
Mm.
cool.
Yeah, my mom is from Germany. And she moved over when she married somebody that was in the army, so she came over with him. But yeah, so every year for everybody's birthday that we call, for me, for my sister, for her, we sing the German happy birthday song.
Cool. I don't know. I find that really cool.
I mean, it's cool, but it's like a part of me gets so embarrassed sometimes because she'll be like, "Okay, sing it with me," and I'm like, "Okay." Like, we
Oh
had a
man.
birthday party for my grandma, um, kind of like a birthday party. There was like a bunch of people there, like um, some of my mom's like older people for like it was kind of like an older crowd kind of thing, so that my grandma had people to talk to that were her age, and it wasn't like a bunch of younger people. And my mom was like, "All right, let's sing happy birthday" when we were cutting the cake. And then, of course, because my grandma's German, she was like, "Let's do it in German." And then I just kind of like stood there with like a smile on my face and was like, "Yeah." And she sang it, and then at the end she was like, "You were supposed to sing it with me." And I was like, "I was supposed to sing it with you? What? I don't know what you're talking
What?
about." I have
Yeah.
never done that before in my life.
Like that minion. What?
What? Yeah, but I was just it's like I'm not embarrassed of it, but it's like when there's multiple people, especially like new people, I'm just like I don't want to sing it. She's always like sing it with me, and I'm like no thanks, thanks but no thanks. But yeah, I love telling people that my mom's German because you'd never expect it looking at me that my mom is German.
Oh.
Yeah, no, those were the times, man. Those were the days back then. You would try to get you would try to get out of trouble as soon as you can. But it's
Yeah,
crazy how far we've come, like from back then to now. And it's just like we got our own podcast, like we got our own thing going.
yeah. Little me never would have thought that I would
Oh
be
yeah, no,
where.
for sure. If I were to
Oh
go back
yeah.
in time and tell like 7-year-old me, like, hey, you're gonna meet these awesome ladies, you're gonna make this podcast happen, she wouldn't believe me. She would be like, you sure? Like
Oh yeah.
Like no friends, very socially
she'd be
awkward.
like, is everything perfect at least?
Like being like, yeah, you have these new friends, these amazing friends. You're gonna have a podcast. Little me would have been like, you're lying to my face right now. Like, why are you lying to me?
Oh
Are you sure
yeah.
this? Are you sure you're even me from the future? Like,
I literally like you look nothing like me.
I used to be so bullied. Like, if I were to tell 12-year-old me now, like, or 12, 13-year-old me now, like, hey, you're in a podcast and you have like a lot of friends and they're like really cool, I would have been like, you're lying. Because, like,
yep.
I
Mhm.
was so bullied. Like, it was insane. So I would be like, you're lying. Who the fuck are you? You're
Right,
not
right.
me.
You wouldn't
Why are
call on
you
You're from
me.
telling
another
all
universe.
things?
Yep.
Yeah, you're from a universe where I'm extremely popular right now.
Yeah.
Like you're
The multiverse is real.
Yep. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty fun. It's I feel like in this podcast, like on this new journey, we are going like we've said it. I've already told y'all like in the last stream of like the gaming channel, like we've said it. We can't back out now. It's happening, you know.
definitely.
So now that it's happening, ladies, let's go on forever if we can.
I
Oh, I hope so.
to be a
I I would love
lifelong
to take this like years and years and years on like just to kind of talk about life and whatnot.
Oh
It'd
yeah, I
definitely
would
be
love to
fun.
share like
Oh yeah.
share
It
new
definitely would.
experiences that I have with you guys and everybody else, and I would like, to enjoy and laugh about, little things that happen now.
Hmm.
yeah.
I've got a lot of stuff to laugh about before. But I would like to share stuff in the future too.
Yeah, definitely. Stuff from the past, stuff recently, stuff in the future when we're still doing this. Just all these experiences and stuff that we're going to have. I think it'll be definitely very fun to continue this.
Oh yeah.
I'm excited
And
for what the future holds.
I
I
also
am
think
super
our guests are
excited.
gonna have lots of fun too. Our
Oh, yeah.
guests
for sure.
are gonna have a laugh, and I'm sure they have great stories.
Yeah, I can only imagine the stories that other people are going to bring to this. So I'm definitely excited.
And I can't wait for the next episode too. I really wonder what the next topics we're gonna talk about.
I know. And I'm kind of sad that it's like Friday when we start because now we got to
Yeah,
wait
like
2 days instead of
at least we
one.
started on like a good day on the week, you know.
I mean, yeah, but it's like my brain is just like now we got to wait 2 days for Monday and kind of
Yeah.
three instead of
That
it
gives us
being like
time though. That gives us time to kind of like come up with more
Yeah,
topics and whatnot. So
yeah,
there'll
definitely. But
be
I'm just like I'm so
more
excited. I'm like I
stories.
want Monday to come. I want
yeah,
Monday.
it's just like oh
I
man,
want. I want to share more stories, but we're running out of time.
we are running
Yeah,
out of time.
definitely running out of time.
We'll continue this on Monday. We got y'all on
Yeah,
Monday though.
we have Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays to tell crazy stories, all these experiences, and every now and then have a guest to also add to the crazy experiences and stories that we're going to be
Yes.
bringing to everybody. So,
Yep.
9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Don't
And with
forget
that,
to check out our Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. I am going to be uploading videos on YouTube of all of our episodes, so that way, in case you missed any of the episodes, they will be there, so you guys don't have to worry about that.
They're no longer on Twitch. They will be on YouTube forever. We will also be, once we figure it out, putting the audio of this podcast on Spotify.
Ooh,
So
That's so
I'm super
exciting.
up and running as well. So you can catch us pretty much virtually anywhere, almost.
Almost.
YouTube and Spotify for the VODs.
You can also
Twitch,
join our Discord, by the way. Sorry. I didn't mean to cut off. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We also have a Discord for you guys to come, put your topics and ideas, just chat with us, things like that. So,
And with that, the Powerpuff Babes are ending this episode right here. Thank you all for allowing us to be part of your day, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Powerpuffs
You ready?
out.
Powerpuffs out.
Powerpuffs
Bye, guys.
Bye.